Good everyone, and welcome to the Options Mentor. We've got a week ahead that's going to be full of news. The big news, of course, April 2nd, which is Wednesday, is the new tariffs coming out. Now, supposedly they're going to be targeted from what I've been reading and hearing, but the market is very much on edge. You could tell that by the sell-off on Friday about what these tariffs mean and how it will affect things. And of course, they'll always be looking to the Fed to see what they think. Now, also on Friday, we do have the non-farm payrolls, the once a month new jobs data, unemployment data. But, I think that's going to pale in comparison to whatever the market's reaction will be to the tariffs on Wednesday. We've already gone down a fair amount. Volatility is high. So this week, we're most likely going to have to really put a hold on new trades that are non-directional, in my opinion, until Wednesday, at least just to see what happens with that. It would be crazy to just walk into that with brand new trades that do have a limit on how far they can go on each side. Now, as always, speculatory trades you could do, but even that I think is all over the place. I would find it hard to do any kind of spec play of any size with any certainty because I think it's hard to tell where the market's going to go from here. Certainly, there's a case to be made that we could rebound pretty hard because, hey, whenever the news gets out, a lot of times that takes some pressure off. And if they are very measured tariffs or maybe we have some negotiation with the other countries that kind of brings those down just like it's done the other times, that could help too. But there's too much unknown in my mind between now and Wednesday to start new trades. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit and what trade maybe we could do by after that. We'll have to see. We could have a totally different market, right? So we can see here what I've been talking about. The SPX has just fallen off a cliff. Realistically, next stop is 5,500 for any kind of support, really. So that's almost another 80 points. But we've really, really looked very sickly on the SPX. And if we come over here and look at what the VIX has done, of course, it has spiked now. One, I guess you could say, bit of good news as far as volatility being not out of control is it's not even at a recent high. The recent high up around 30. We're at 21.65. Now, that shows an elevated level of concern. As you can see, that's above the average. If you go back here, most of the time, we've been lower than that, right? So we are above average on the VIX, but we are in a state of that you could expect it could be even higher and probably will go higher if the market takes a bad reaction to these tariffs. We'll have to see what happens with that. So what I'm going to look at here is I'm going to look at a double butterfly, but I want to make that clear, would not put that on before Wednesday unless we had some kind of development that took the tariffs off the table. I don't think that's going to happen. But if we did, somehow they came out with, hey, here's exactly what we're going to do on Wednesday, and the market got to react to it before then, whatever. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to have to wait till Wednesday to see what happens. But what I did here, if you look at this is a double butterfly. I chose that because, the VIX is high right now, could go a little higher. So you want to do something to short volatility generally when we're over 20, for the most part. There are exceptions, but for the most part, a double fly is not going to do you wrong whenever we're over 20 on the VIX, provided we're still, not much over 25. So in that area where we're at now, something like this would look good. And what I did here is I just took Friday's close, 55.80. I went up around 70 to 56.50. I centered a call butterfly. And then I went up 80 for the top strike and down 90. You might remember last week when I talked about flies, we were below 20 on the VIX. I was using 70, 80 wings. Now we're back up above 20, so I'm going to use 80, 90 wings. Same thing down here. Went down 70 points to 55.10 and then up 80, down 90 and got that. Now, when we look over here, I want to apologize for last week. I had an old account up here that I don't even use anymore. It was non-margin. It's still got a few bucks in it, so it just doesn't go away. And whenever I open up my Thinkorswim, it defaults to it instead of the ones I mainly use, which one of the ones is this, which is, of course, a decent margin account. The margin on this trade would be $990. That's just because of the put fly. Remember, as we've gone over this, call flies, they put all the expense in the debit. Put flies, because they margin them as a debit credit spread combination, they put some debit, 640, plus this, but it really, as you can see, comes out to be about the same, doesn't it? $1,000 margin, roughly 640 here, but boom, what do you got? It's basically the same price, but you do need to calculate that in to the expense of the trade, right? But if you get some crazy number over here that's higher number than that, and you're doing the same wing widths and you're doing the same size, something's wrong, right? Either your brokerage is, your account's off, they're not giving you marginability or whatever it may be. But that is the margin on this trade, 990 if you set it up this way. So I just want to make that clear, and I want to apologize for having that account that gave a crazy margin number over here. I think it was tens of thousands of dollars. Of course, I'd never do anything like that with a one lot. That's crazy. So I'm going to point that out, but that's how that works whenever you're doing an asymmetrical, meaning unbalanced, in that one of the longs is closer to the middle, the short, than the other. When you do that in the put butterflies, you do get this margin plus a smaller debit. So don't let that startle you if you ever add a put fly. Maybe you're looking at a call fly and go, wait a minute, this thing's a lot cheaper. Or maybe you decide to adjust something and you want to buy a call fly and you go, holy cow, that's expensive, $16, when I only paid $6 to get the fly on. That's because you might be using calls instead of puts. Those are important things to look at. I always tell my traders, what you want to do is, if you're getting numbers that are really strange, or maybe stranger than what you're looking at on my screen, then what you need to do is make sure the date's right. Make sure you're using the correct expirations. Make sure you're using the correct strikes. Make sure you're using the correct size. All those things matter. And then one other feature, if you use this toss platform, is this. You want this to be unchecked, because if you're up in here and you happen to hit your left mouse button, it locks it. And you'll be going on through the day going, why aren't things changing here? Well, it's because you got the price locked and it's giving you a wrong number. So make sure this price is unlocked and that you have all your dates right and size and expirations correct. 99% of the time, if you're seeing something vastly different than what I'm showing, or maybe even what you're used to, you've got something wrong like that. Or you could have maybe your live trade showing in with your proposed trades or something like that. So just things to look at to keep yourself straight. All right, well, this is the kind of thing I might be looking at here by Wednesday. If we see what happens and the market's stable enough to enter trades, but we're still over 20 on the VIX, probably be something like this. If we're under 20 on the VIX, it may be a fly diagonal combo, or maybe a double diagonal, or maybe a fly calendar combo. All those things, we'll have to see what goes on. Definitely regarding the volatility and just market stability, you want to be able to see that things look okay for you to enter. So that's where we're at this week. Heads up on everything. Watch for that news on Wednesday. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe on this channel. And of course, the alert bell, so that you find out every time I put one of these out. I most often put these out on Sundays, so we can get a good start on the Monday. And don't forget to check out all the links in the description. All my courses, my trade alert service says still 13 out of 15 positive trades for the year. So doing very well overall since I started it a year ago, February 2024. I believe we've had 2 losing months in all that time. So the trade service is going well. If you want to care to join me there, or maybe every day with the Traders Lounge opening bell type of thing, it's all there. You can combine those. So take a look at the links in the description. Check me out over at Arimer.com. As always, if you have any questions, you want one-on-one mentoring, email me directly. That email is also in the description, theoptionsmentorspx at gmail.com. So let me know if you have that question or any other questions, and I'll be back with you here next week. Hopefully we'll have better trading times and we won't be on hold because of something like this. So good luck this week, folks. Keep alert, and I will talk with you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.